those relays. You're saying ohm out the secondary of the mod transformer?
Yeah, check that, see what it is, and I'll check one here to see what you should be seeing.
Okay, I can do that and talk. It's not quite as heavy as the power supply.
Transmitter are you working on? Over.
A Globe King 500 that hadn't been on for a while, and loaded it up into a little bit of a high SWR, and it caused all kinds of trouble, but a relay solved the first problem. Thought I had everything fixed, and then no audio, but the meters are swinging.
You just need to sell that to me real cheap. Is that K3OS?
Yeah, how close am I to frequency?
Wow, this thing be squealing. KO4SSY.
Oh, there's a pileup going on here. Hello, Gary, and hello, Billy, SSY. So I just got here. So we got KN4R, W4GUZ, W4NKL, K3OS, KO4SSY. Well, it's a good group tonight. Who else is here? You got some kind of, you got something broke there, Brandon? Anybody solved the issue yet?
It's not part of the problem, not all of it. I'm fixing to pull this mod deck back out. Luckily I didn't put the screws back in it yet.
That's a big, powerful modulator, I'm sure.
That's Globe King 500A.
I was watching a YouTube video last night. This guy builds stereo equipment for a living, and he built a pair of 33-inch subwoofers. And it took about 5 men to carry it into the house and get them set up. And he said they were capable of handling, I think he said 1,300 watts each. Oh man, what a beast.
You could emulate an earthquake with that thing.
Yeah, and these are actually paper cone type, I guess it's paper. I mean, they're real speakers. And it took, I think it's about 4 men to lower it down into the enclosure. All right, well, I guess we're a little early tonight. That's great. I guess we'll start the round table. N4LQ. In Shelby, North Carolina, running the AF-67 and an amplifier and the InFed half wave. And I hope everybody's copying. The band sounds real quiet tonight. And Brian, sounds like you're not on your 7610, am I correct? KN4R, and then it goes to GUZ, then NKL, and OS, and then SSY. Go ahead.
Okay, Steve, N4LQ in the group, KN4R. Yep, if you listen very closely, or maybe not even close enough, you'll hear my VFO moving around, but I'm on the VFO here on the Globe Camp, and it's not too stable, but hopefully on AM, it's not too bad now. Synchronous AM, it might drive you crazy, but anyway, yep, it's on here. It tuned up really nicely, actually, no problem. So, Brandon, over to you. What are you running? You're running just about 35 over here on peaks. W4GUZ in the group, KN4R.
KN4R in the group, W4GUZ. Caught me across the bench there. Same old thing, Collins 20B2, working on the Globe King. Had, well, that's what I've done since about 2 o'clock this afternoon. 3 o'clock, something like that. Chasing my tail. Cliff, it looks like 56 ohms. Now I'm going to have to look at the schematics and see. I'm assuming that that relay pulls in when you're in phone mode and releases. It's normally open in CW mode. If not, I've got problems. But as it stands now, just off of the secondary of the mod transformer, it's a dead short, but I've got the cabinet pulled out, but I can close that relay and it's reading right at 56 ohms on the secondary. So anyway, fun stuff, fighting the cold, trying not to think about it. Throat has almost quit hurting, but I can breathe out of one side of my nose and hear out of the other ear, so bear with me. WB4NKL, W4GUZ.
W4GUZ, it's WB4NKL. Everybody's sounding good here tonight. I'm running a Globe King 500 and a Hammerlin HQ140X receiver that I hadn't had online yet in a while. And everybody's got good audio on it. It sounds great. That's that 50 some ohm is right on the secondary of that transformer, so I'd say it's that relay Brian not pulling in. If you're not going to use it on CW, I just cut the thing loose, and I don't think it comes into play, or shouldn't, on AM. Should take care of it. And I noticed that something they did on the 500C, they made a little spark gap on those for the modulation transformer. They got about an 1/8 inch spark gap on the secondary of that transformer. So that might be something you want to add. They just used a couple pieces of wire. I've got a 500C I've been working on, and they just used a couple of pieces of wire and made a little spark gap to protect the transformer. Go ahead, Gary. Sounding good here. K3OS, WB4NKL.
WB4NKL, K3OS. Okay, Cliff. Yeah, everybody's doing good, except my receiver. I'm using the AF-67 and the PMR7 tonight, just barefoot. The problem is I've got a problem in the squelch circuit, which just keeps messing up the receiver. I thought I keep going after it, and for whatever reason, it's just aggravating me tonight. I'm going to dial into, I think, an SDR, a web SDR here. See if I can grab one and hear you guys a little bit better. This thing is just driving me nuts. Every time I played the tube, I don't know, it's like a capacitor that's going in and out, and I just can't find it, you know. And if I twist the squelch knob enough, eventually it comes back for a while. And Brandon, I don't know that we've met. Name is Gary, and I'm over in Hickory. I will eventually try to figure out how to connect this thing up to the amplifier here and see if my little attenuator takes it down enough, and then work out a little transmit receive sequencer, and then we'll be in business. Let's see, it goes from me now to KO4SSY, K3OS. Go ahead.
Alrighty. Well, I had that call cut. Done it. I had you call in behind mine. I should have wrote it down. Oh well. Steve will straighten it out, I'm sure. Well, modern stuff, because I never had no modern stuff until somebody went on 45 band. I finally got one, and now we're on AM. Anyway, I'll get there. I just kind of, one thing, I've got to wrestle that SX28 up the stairs. That's quite the chore. Get all that stuff up here and get that part for the Valiant and get that put in, and that should fix the Valiant where I can get on it. I got actually too much junk, not enough room. Yeah, anyway. One of these days I'll have a basement or a shop or something like everybody else. I'll get my stuff set up where it is operable, all of it. So, goals. Steve, I didn't hear of anybody else. I guess it comes back to you unless there's somebody else out there lurking in the shadow. M4LQ kill West SY.
All right. Is anybody else lurking out there? Want to check in?
WF to you, Steve. WF to you.
Well, there's our lurker, WF2U in 4LQ. Well, I caught the tree falling over fever here, I guess, Mir. I put a picture on the old friend's net. I was out there today to get the mail, and I was watching the creek, and I said, that creek hasn't always been right there. I had an extra creek. It was coming out of this hole in the ground where this gigantic root ball was sticking up about 4 feet. And on the end of that was a 100-foot pine tree laying on the ground. So I said, well, here we go. So I tramped down through there and took some pictures of it. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to dig a ditch to route that water down to the main creek, or I'm going to end up with so much erosion. All those trees are going to fall over. So Mir, go ahead, and when you get done, give it back to me. We'll see if anybody else wants to check in. WF2U and 4LQ.
N4LQ, WF2U. Yeah, good evening, Stephen, whoever else is here. Conditions are not that great. It's a little noisy, but not as bad as yesterday. Although I have everything on, the noise blanker and the noise reduction, and everything is cranked up, but that kills the audio quality. I mean, they really sound, the audio is terrible with all these things working, but at least the noise is not as bothersome. Yeah, I saw your email with the tree. That's not nice. And are you going to do it to do the cleanup yourself, or are you getting somebody in to take care of it? So, what else is new? I got the JRC transceiver now today. I have to find a power connector for it. It's like a sort of a Molex with 10 points. And I don't know if I can find one in that same configuration, but at least I can find pins to mate it, and then I can hook it up to the power. And then I have to get a microphone. It uses 600 ohm dynamic mics, and with 8-pin connector. And I managed to get the schematics how to connect the microphone and what goes where. So I probably will get on eBay a generic 600 ohm dynamic microphone, hand mic, and just get a connector and wire it up. So in the meantime, I could use it on CW, because this has a CW option with a jack in the back. Oh, that rhymes. Anyway, so back to you. N4LQ, WF2U.
Before we go, what radio are you referring to?
RC that I got today. The model number is JSB 196GM. And it's another marine radio, except I don't have to do the same operation to wideband it like I had to do with the ICOM, because it's by default the way it comes, it's open. The ITU marine channels are programmed in, but everything else you can run, and there is upper sideband and lower sideband and everything, and it officially goes down to 1.6. So I hope it will have full output on 160, and we'll see. It's a little bit, it's just as heavy as the Icon, but for some reason it's a little bit smaller. But it looks pretty decent. So that's the story from this end. N4LQ WFTU.
All right, good. All right, that's I got that written down. The JS, 196. Okay, anybody else want to check in? It's not N4LQ. Let's see, Billy. That's K3OS. That I think you were asking about Gary's call sign. And so we got, tonight we've got two AF-67s on the air. We got a Globe Champ 350. We got 20V Collins, 20V2, and a Globe King 500. Now we're doing this great. We're getting some boat anchors on here, man. That's what I like to hear. This is the best band for boat anchor fever. That's for sure. We're close to nature down here. You know, we're getting down to where ham radio started. Which reminds me of a little short thing, and Brian, you might be able to help with this, because I remember you having a Siemens, I think it's a Siemens EK-07. Is that right? And is that German? Over?
No, that's Roden Swartz, I believe, EK-07, and I did have one. I think Mir has the Telefunken equivalent, and but I don't have it anymore, but it is German, over.
All right, that's the point then. German is the thing. And so here's what I learned today. I was reading, of all things, the 1927 ARRL handbook. And back in those days, for a period of 20 months, the ARRL got with the IARU and the International Amateur Radio Union, and they gave every country a sort of a prefix. And those prefixes are not like we have today at all. And they were to be used whenever you worked one of those people along with their own call. And you always used it when you identified yourself. So the United States, for example, was NU, North America, NU, and Germany was EK. So when you would do it like this, let's say that Brian was in Germany and I was in the U.S., I would say KN4R EK, this is N4LQ NU, over. That's the way it spelled it out, how you're supposed to identify each other when you're doing international conversations. That lasted for 20 months, and they just scrapped the whole thing and gave every country a prefix, including the United States, which didn't have one at the time. It would have been like, I would have been 4LQ instead of N4LQ. And then we all became W's, and eventually K's and N's, and all the other stuff came along later. So anyway, the EK thing caught my eye, and I thought, that looks familiar. I just wondered if that's got something to do with Germany. And there you go. So go ahead, Brian. KN4R, N4LQ.
Yeah, okay, Steve, very good. N4LQ in the group, KN4R. Well, very good. Well, I've seen those QSL cards, like Strokey and you, and I didn't realize that that's what it was for. I mean, I knew it was a country code, but I forgot they didn't have prefixes. They just had, like you say, 4LQ or whatever, and if every country did that, then you don't know what country they're from, so that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, very good. By the way, I switched from the HRO, which is doing great, to the 51, and it usually suffers from down here on 160, but it's not doing it at the moment, so that's good. So, but anyway, hopefully the BFO is not too bad. Steve, you might comment next time around. I'm assuming on synchronous AM, and if so, how bad is it? So, Gary, you're sounding good. Mir, you're stronger than you normally are. So, at least here. So, congratulations. Are you on your new JRC now, or are you using something else? So, back to you, Brandon. How's it going? And I'm going to give you a couple of seconds here to come across the room in case you're away from the mic. W4GUZ in the group, KN4R.
W4AUV.
W4EJB, or Victor maybe. I was a little quick on the trigger there. Interesting, Steve, very interesting. I had seen those suffixes or prefixes before, but I didn't know the meaning behind it. Brian, your VFO has stabilized. I'm not using synchronous detection, but I am looking at SDR. Before it was going from left to right and right to left, but you have settled down very stable, about 1.5 inches low. So, about 2 or 1.5 kcs low, but it's very stable now. So, but I didn't have any trouble before, but it was bouncing around like a clogger dancing. If I didn't say it, Gary, hello, don't think we spoke. Mir, you are blowing me away up here into Bakersville, North Carolina tonight. Cliff, I snipped the relay out of line, and lo and behold, it works. So now, I've got to get to the bottom of this. Got to figure out why the relay quit working. If it opened up, if the relay and the power supply was the original problem, or what's the deal? So it's a cat and mouse game now. But I stuck it into a dummy load, and yep, it's working again. Thank goodness. And Bill, you're sounding good. Whatever you're on, I didn't catch that, but I can hear you a lot better tonight than, let's see, night before last, maybe, or 3 nights ago. Like I said, breathing out of one nose and hearing out of the other. But oh, and Cliff and everyone else, Terry finally answered some text. Leroy brought him some ginger ale, and he still hasn't ate, but he's feeling better. So we text back and forth 2 or 3 times, and he sent 1-word answers back to me. So he's still hanging in there. No idea when he's going to get out of the hospital. Let's keep this going. WB4NKL, and the Globe King sounds good. W4GUZ.
And W4GUZ, it's WB4NKL. I'm glad Terry answered that. But he's not feeling too good, or he'd be doing more than one word, I'm sure. But yeah, he's been in there, I guess, a week now. Yeah, he went in last Tuesday, so this was actually 8 days. It's a long time to be in the hospital, and there's probably no set time to get out. Brandon, I hope you get to feeling better. That's bad when you got one ear stopped up or one nostril stopped up. Throws you out of balance. It just makes you feel terrible all over. So maybe just hopefully get over that quickly. Good deal on the prefixes. I knew that they had switched from those 3-letter calls. I figured they just run out of calls, but I guess that was about the time they were assigning each country the prefix. So I didn't know exactly when that time period was. I'm impressed with the noise limiter on this HQ140. I was thinking it's just a diode clipper type circuit, but I can turn it on. It takes every bit of the line static I had. It takes it out, and I can't really tell any difference on the audio. Usually it distorts the incoming audio, and I've looked at schematic. I think it's just the normal type circuit, but they've implemented it well on this HQ140X. It's working great. And I'll have to look at the schematic on that 500, Brandon. I thought that relay was just in parallel with the power going to the transformers in that AM modulator, controlled by the switch on the front of it, but I could be wrong. That's kind of odd that it opened up the same time you was having that other trouble. That's kind of weird. I'll send it on around. Go ahead, Gary. K3OS WB4NKL.
All right, Cliff. WB4NKL, the group from K3OS. Well, real good all the way around. My receiver has decided to grace me by staying on. You know? Well, decided to let it work itself, so I got everybody that time without any hitch. I think I'll get some circuit, get some of the freeze mist in there. Performance here. Something going on. And on the transmitter, the AF-67, you guys who have them, I can't get the grid current down enough. It's still sitting there around 4 mils. That's about as low as I can get it. And it's on the grid tuning is on the peg, if you will, on the right-hand peg or the left-hand side. It doesn't make a difference. Full counterpoint. So I think I'm going to go in tomorrow and throw in a grid resistor in the driver stage to see if I can't just load it overall drop. I got plenty of grid current on all the bands, 80 and 160. This seems to be the worst. So I'm actually lucky it's working. As a result, I think the loading is it's a little bit light, but it's working. The prior owners of this one have rewound the 160 meter tank clump. It's on some sort of, it almost looks like a stiff cardboard form, but it tunes and loads. So I don't know what happened to the original. I could also put on the other AF-67 that I've got here and see if it's any better. But the grid current is way up, but always has been. I was just been negligent and not getting in there and doing something about it. So that'll be a good excuse to do it tomorrow. But I'm happy it works. I've not tried to load it up on 160. And I'll have a look at my little T-pad that I built a long time ago, see how far it takes it. And that'll tell me whether I could use that one or have to build another one to drive the amplifier. Well, let me keep passing down, and it's still raining like crazy here. Holy Toledo! I don't know how much rain we got. I'll take a look at the rain gauge tomorrow. But we need it, that's for sure. K04 SSY and the group K3OS.
Okay, It's Billy's turn, and Billy gives it the mirror, and then mirror you need to give it to Dale, W4AUV. Go ahead, Billy.
I apologize. I just, I can tell he's in there, but I can't hear anything. I didn't realize he came over. Apologize. P3OS killed for us, that's why. And Brandon, I'm on the 7300, and I didn't get in here in time to hear what the main problem was with the globe. Cliff, I'm assuming you're on the one that's got the, you're using the solid state rig for the, for the VFO, or is it one of the other rigs? Not sure, but it's sounding good. Coming down here tonight, I need, I don't know, I'm not going to get in no hurry ordering that power supply for the plate transformer for that one over there. Just kind of disgruntled with it right now. I'll just run the 500 and other things, the Johnson 500, to get past it. Lord, this stuff got kind of getting choked up. Brandon's blaming me for his. I don't know about all that, but anyway, I got broad shoulders. I guess I'll take it. WFPU, pick it up. K4S, SY.
Yeah, Roger, 4SSY. This is WF2U. Yeah, very good. Copying everybody just fine. Gary and Billy both 5 and 9. The noise level is still a little bit high, but I can copy actually okay without using the noise blanker and the noise reduction. The audio quality sounds much better. And Steve, you in 4LQ, you were like almost 30 over 9. Brian, about 20 plus, and the other Steve, 30 over 9. Cliff, 20 over 9, and you have the other two already. I'm using the 7300 with the AL1200 and the end-fed for 80 meters, the end-fed half wave. And Brian, no, I'm not using the JRC transceiver. I just got it today, and I have to do some work. I have to make up a power cable, and I have to wire up a microphone for it. It came without the cable and the microphone, but I knew that, so I was just looking at the schematic for the microphone pinout, and I think I can get a generic hand mic off eBay for about $20 or so, with the same kind of plug, and all I have to do is just move a few wires to conform to the way this the pinout needs to be. The specification is that it's using a dynamic 600 ohm dynamic mic, which is most of these handheld mics except for the ones that are electric. So I have to get that. I might even be able to do something. Actually, I can feed the audio from the auxiliary terminals in the back because it's set up that you could use a modem with it too. So through the audio in and out, so I could actually feed the 600 ohm audio from the back. At a higher level, I have like a one-stage little preamplifier. I can use that, and I don't even need the connector because it goes into a screw terminal. And what else? Yeah, I need some Molex female connector inserts because the configuration is a little bit strange. I don't think it's stock. It's a 10 pin in two rows, but they, you know, these are usually either square or half round on one side. All these inserts, the plastic part. And this is not standard. That, let's say, number one is different from the others. Here it's the different configuration of the shell is in the middle. So I might just have to get the female pin inserts and make up the cable. Just plug it in that way, and could even make a mold from rubber. Or something, or just solder some power poles on it. So it's not going to be on the air yet tonight, and that's the story. I just opened it up, and it looks absolutely immaculate inside. Outside, it's a little bit scratched, and the top cover has a little bit of a dent in it, but inside it looks like it came out of the factory. So I have nothing to worry about, obviously. So that's the story with that. And so everybody sounds good. And I have to, sometime in the next few days, I have to drag either the Valiant in here or the Viking 2 and have a boat anchor on 160. I'm waiting for an incandescent 3-watt 120-volt lamp with a candelabra socket, because I don't get the high voltage in my DX100B because that light is burned out. It's in series with high voltage transformer input. I guess it's sort of like a fuse, and also the indicator that the high voltage is on. So I ordered one from. I could find it only in Amazon. They have everything, so I'm waiting for it. I have no shorts or nothing. I think it just got tired finally and gave up the ghost. So that's why I'm not getting high voltage in the DX100, which of course I can use on 160 as well. Okay, so Dale, you can pick it up. This is WF2U listening.
All right, WF2U and various sundry. This is W4AUV on ancient modulation. I hope my right box sounds all right. It adjusted the way the manual says to adjust it for ancient modulation. Okay, for the rest of you, name here is Dale. Delta Lima Echo, and we're broadcasting from deep behind enemy lines in liberal Raleigh, North Carolina. Looking at my speech envelope, I don't see any pinching, and I see near 100% modulation. I don't see any flat topping, so hey, yay, oh, yay. We're running a Kencom wood transceiver here, a rice box, driving a Ten-Tech Centurion 422B, and carrier level is about 250 watts right now. So that puts my 4 times modulation peaks at around a kilowatt, so I guess that's a good thing. The antenna is a large hunk of wire way up high in the tree fed with open wire line. And I apologize deeply and sincerely for not having an end-fed half-wave. Okay, Steve, I guess I give it to you because I don't know who else to give it to.
N4LQ in the group, W4AUV.
Okay, yes. This is N4LQ. Do we have anybody else that would like to check in? Oh, nothing would. Very good round. Let's see. Yeah, you sound okay. You sound okay for a rice box. You got your ducks in a row there. Speaking of ladder line, and by the way, those handbooks, ARRL handbooks, the league handbooks are available on the American Radio History website. Let's see here. That's called worldradiohistory.com. I'll say it one more time. World Radio History, all one word, .com. And you can go down there, and there's a place you can click to do a search, and I just put ARRL in there, and that's all there is. Handbooks all the way from 1926 up to 1984. Plenty of handbooks there to look at. I like to look at the old ones. I learned cool stuff. For example, for many years there, the handbook had a description of how to build ladder line, and for spreader insulators, they recommended the use of glass toothbrush holders. Now, they look like kind of like cigar cases, or I mean cigar tubes, but they were glass, and they had a metal cap that screwed on, and that's what you kept your toothbrush in. That sounds like a real interesting thing to try to keep clean. Anyway, they said you'd get the type with a metal cap on each end. Well, I started looking at antique toothbrush holders, and I could only find them with a metal cap on one end. But regardless of that, they were like $68 for the cheap one, and for one. Now, of course, they only recommended putting them every 10 feet, so they weren't too concerned about regularity. Back in those days, I mean, it was a tune thing anyway, so whatever worked, I guess. And that would probably work okay. I mean, they wanted you to drill a hole, 2 holes in each metal cap, run a piece of wire through it, and then use the wire to tie the feed line to that metal cap. It sounds to me like a good way to introduce noise into the system. Anyway, I did win the bid on the AF-67 on eBay yesterday, and it's on its way here. And it is a rust bucket, but it's all intact. Looks like it might work. Got it cheap. So I'm going to strip her down, and I think I'm just going to paint the entire thing black. Not even worry about there's no use trying to get the rust off completely. And this will be custom in appearance. I may even paint it purple like that German. What is that Heidelberg transceiver? Let's see here. The quote of the day. I heard it this morning on the Old Friends Net, and I just can't get it off my mind. It's something John said, and he said, I appreciate all the feedback on the audio. I thought, now there you go. That is a good quote. I appreciate all the feedback on the audio. So, and find on the noise limiter, Cliff, on the HQ140 being so good, I have noticed that on several boat anchors that in spite of being nothing more than a diode, they can do a pretty good job as long as you don't turn it up too high, and if it's adjustable, you should be able to set it at whatever threshold you need. As long as your noise is, I guess, lower than the voice, it won't clip the voice. Is that how that works? I don't know. Anyway, now I got a question for you on amplifier class of amplifier for RF amplifiers. In one place you will read, oh no, you can't use Class C because that would distort things horribly. And in another place I read where, well, the Globe King has got a Class C RF amplifier. I think the reference to being distorted might just be for audio amplifiers and not for RF. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's this flyback effect, and when it goes in, the amplifier goes into cutoff, the field in the tank coil collapses back and gives you the other half of the envelope or some weird thing like that. So I've got this Ameritron, and all the Ameritrons have a switch on them on the front panel that says SSB or CW. And they don't tell you anything about AM, which position it is, and it's just a change in bias. You don't know what class it's putting you into. I can see that if I put it in CW mode, my power output goes down, and right now it's in SSB mode, so flip, there it went. That is CW mode right there, and I'm going to turn it back to SSB mode right there, and I bet you can't tell a bit of difference. Hello. Well, my modulation percentage went up in CW mode. Anyway, tell me what you think. Go ahead, Brian. KN4R, N4LQ.
N4LQ in the group, KN4R. Well, hopefully I'm a little closer to frequency now. Very good on your upcoming custom AF-67. And those expensive rigs were Haberlings, Haberlings, or Haberling. And yeah, I couldn't tell any difference, by the way, Steve. But anyway, I switched off the 51S1 back to the HRO. It just sounds better. I do have a lot of static, a lot of local noise here, but you guys are punching right through it. So, and Brandon, congratulations on figuring out that next problem, thanks to Cliff. So that's great. So, and I am copying Billy, but he's not real strong. And good evening, and very good mirror on your the rig that you are using. And I look forward to hearing the JRC soon. And also, good evening, Dale. You sound good on AM. So I'll keep it going, Brandon. I'm warning you. I know you're across the room, but head to the microphone. W4GUZ in the group. KN4R.
Okay, Brian. I'd actually made it back over here. I got the bottom panel back on the modulation deck of this thing, and hope to be on it in the morning. I want to do a little more testing, but I can tell I've spent enough time on my feet in the basement here. I need to rest. Steve, that website has got a lot of useful information on it outside of the journals, but I need to dig deeper into that. If I'm not mistaken, that's the one that has so much information on the early the HROs and the early national radios. Pretty neat site. Let's see, no notes. I may have already said this, but 3 inches of rain today. A good day to be a duck. And I had every intention on getting another little project finished up today. TR relay with a frequency counter in it, Cliff, for my friend. And would you believe, after all that work and all the secret activity that we performed, the only thing that he got for Christmas was that manual. he left the radio, or she left the radio at work and said, "Here you go, Merry Christmas. The rest is up to me," or "Rest is up to Brandon." So anyway, I think I've got enough junk laying around here to finish that up, but didn't get around to it. But seems like this thing's working again, but that's a little strange. Maybe the spark gap was a little too close and caused all the other problems. Who knows? I'm going to blame the rain because the standing wave was a little high. That's weird. On the I was actually on the dipole when I was trying that. I don't know why I wasn't on the loop, but I have it strung up with some Dacron rope. Actually, I have the rope strung up and the dipole attached to it, which works great until it rains, and then, of course, things change. So that's why I had a little bit of high standing wave, and that's what's got all this started. But anyway, that's fixed. Hearing everybody very well tonight, and a good group of folks in here. Brian, you were almost dead nuts on frequency that time. From my remote SDR that I'm looking at, which I'm very envious of its location. It's less than 2 miles from me, and about the same elevation, but the horizon it's amazing, the difference. What it can hear. Not necessarily nothing here on the lower frequencies, lower bands, but you get up above anything above 20 meters, and stuff that's non-existent here is S9 on the SDR. So. And a lot of people use it, and I'm glad of that. It was a lot of trouble to get put up, but I'm not sure what'll happen if it ever dies, because I don't think they're making any more currently. The Kiwi SDR, haven't checked lately. Gary, Mayor, Billy, Steve, Cliff, who I forgot, somebody. Again, no notes. Just going off my poor memory. And my voice is going, so I'm going to go too. But I'll be listening here till the end while I clean up my mess. And thank you, Cliff, and everybody remember Terry. Still, he's not out of the quicksand yet, but maybe he'll make it back home. WB4NKL. Seems like there's something else, but anyway, WB4NKL 73. I'll be listening here. I'll leave this junk on while I'm cleaning up. But if you call on me and I'm not here, that means I'm gone. W4GUZ.
W4GUZ. Okay, Brian. It's WB4NKL. And if you think of it, we might let you back in. Good deal. 73s. Steve, on the classes of amplifier, the Class C is fine if you're plate modulating it. It just don't pass audio good if it's a true Class C amplifier. It's not a linear amplifier anymore. So, it don't normally pass good audio with it. I would guess that your amplifier is not going to true Class C. That's completely cut off, without drive. So I'd say it's not going to pure Class C, or you'd hear some distortion on the audio. But that's my understanding of it anyway. That's what makes a linear amplifier linear. It's not Class C, Class A or AB or B. And anyway, that's what I've always read and experienced too. I have tried to feed on 220. I had a Class C amplifier I was trying to run some sideband through, and it didn't work very well. Had to go in and add some bias to it to make it get it out of the Class C range. Let's see. mirror. I'm afraid that won't help your DX100. That bulb is in parallel with the plate transformer, not in series. So you've got something else going on there. I'm not sure what, but you can take the bulb out and it'll still transmit because it's like I say in parallel. So that's not going to help you on the problem. And let's see, got some more notes here. Gary, Steve on the AF-68, he had added some resistance in there in series with that driver power, and cured some of that trouble about the grid tuning. I guess it's lowering the voltage some, so you might, I don't know if you've done that to yours, it might help you out on the grid drive. What they really need, there's a screen adjust part where you could lower the grid drive instead of detuning it, is what really needs to happen, I guess. And let's see, more notes here. The German guy. I liked his tower with that spiral staircase up the side of it. That'd be great. I'd like to have a tower like that out here in the back with a spiral staircase going to the top. That's really neat. I think that was that same guy. I seen the picture in the one of the posts that was on the internet. And Billy, I'm running the Globe King. I'm running a DDS VFO. My IC736 ICOM that I was using as a receiver and a VFO, it quit on me, and I hadn't had time to get into it. It's still works on higher frequencies, but it don't work on 75 or 160 here. So I've got to get into that sometime, see what's going on with it. Send it on around. See, everybody's got a good signal in here tonight. K3OS, WB4NKL.
Cliff, WB4NKL, K3OS. Alrighty. I think I'm going to leave you guys chatting away here. And as I say, my receiver has blessed me with staying on for 2 rounds. I can't ask it to do any more. But it's really funny. During that transmission, I flipped over to the receiver. Got a Kenwood set of Kenwood twins, as you know, as some of you guys know. We flipped it over. Must be because this is the PMR7 is wider bandwidth, but it sure sounds better. So I'm back on the PMR7. And Brandon, when you come on, everything goes quiet. It's like you're running FM over here. It's really, and you're just plowing in over here. I've got no, I'm not running an NFET half wave. I'm running a 200-foot, my typical 200-foot long, slightly inverted V. Who knows what it is? Whatever I can get on the lot. I'm looking at actually expanding that, making it, see if I can't get it closer to full 160. But I do manage to load it on this and every other band, so seems to work out. I've got an 80-meter NFED, but it's lower, and every time I do an AB switch, this antenna wins out all the time. I've got ladder line to it, not glass. Those things would have to be Pyrex in order to withstand the winter too, Steve. I was thinking about that. And yeah, I did see Steve's modification on the AF-68. I looked at that. I'm going to try the screen on the driver tube first. Put a resistor in there and see if I can't just lower the drive coming out. See what happens with it. Won't hurt it. That's a good thing. These things are pretty sturdy. It don't do much damage to them. That's for sure. So anyway, been really fun, guys. Go upstairs and kind of call it a night here. And say 73 for now. We'll probably catch most of you on Thursday morning. Going over to you, Cape 04SSY, K3OS in the group.
Go ahead, Billy.
All right, I'm going to here. Y'all have a good night. Just struggling on here in two or three different ones. And,
I don't hear anything.
Hey, he's talking.
What do you there, Mayor? WF2 voice squad.
Yeah, go ahead, Mayor.
Okay. I guess Billy is gone. This is WF2. Okay, first of all, I forgot to react to two questions there, or two issues. Steve, regarding the linear amplifier, when it's on the CW position, it's not linear. What they do is so you can get more power out of it, like full power on CW with less average dissipation. They put it closer to Class C, so it's more efficient and has less idle current. So then when it's driven, it's not linear like when it has probably like in AB class, one of the AB classes, and then it's linear, and that's why you had distortion also. Plus, you really shouldn't do it because you might be over dissipating the tube if it's set for full power out. You put it on CW and modulate it, then you're raising the average dissipation, and you might over dissipate. So that's why you keep it on the single sideband position, because then it has the correct biasing for linear operation. Now, why can't you use a Class C amplifier for AM to amplify an AM signal? That's exactly the reason. It's not linear. And but of course, when you plate modulating a power tube like a power stage or any stage, then it can be Class C because actually you're driving it. You're not driving the tube into to amplify a linear signal, because it's really not amplifying. It's just changing the amplitude according to the modulation, and that's why you need the power, half of the power of the RF output. You need half of that power on the average to modulate it 100%. So that's one, and the other one is the EK-07. Yeah, that series of receivers, that's a Rhodes and Schwartz EK-07. It's made by the Rhodes and Schwartz company, and EK is the abbreviation for Empfänger Kurzwelle. That means receiver shortwave. And number 7, I have one of those, and it's a great receiver. It's just not hooked up to any muting circuit. It's not connected to anything, so at this point I can't use it for communications, because until I interface it with one of the transmitters here. And Cliff, regarding the DX100P, I might be going blind, and I was just looking on the schematic on my phone, so maybe I didn't see it well, but it seemed to me like when I saw it where that bulb is, I thought it was in series with a high voltage primary, high voltage transformer primary, as a sort of a fuse or something. But it's just one morning recently, I turned it on and I had no power, no high voltage, and I checked the fuses. I'm pretty sure the fuses were okay, but there is no smoke or no nothing. So I really have to open it up, which I hate to do because even to pull it out of the cabinet is some work. But I'll have to do it to get it working again, and we'll see what happens. But definitely there was no smoke or anything. It could be that the relay contact is kind of not making contact. It could be that it's so oxidized from probably arcing or something that it's not making contact. That's a possibility on the TR relay because it's modified with a TR relay inside. So that's one possibility. Anyway, so I answered one question and then I made a comment for regarding the other issue. So W4AUV, Dale, you were 10 over 9. I think I told you what your report was. This is WF2U.
All right, WF2U and various sundry. This is W4AUV. Okay, Mary, you're about 15 over 9 here. And so, okay, my understanding A, B, C. A is the least efficient, but has the greatest, the least amount of distortion because that amplifier conducts on the full cycle of a sine wave. B conducts on 180 degrees of the sine wave of the cycle. AB is a little bit, I think I'm remembering, somewhat more than 180 degrees, and then C is a 50%. So Class B and C, Class B and C both have a bit of harmonic distortion, and the way you get around that is with tuned loading. So there you go. And Mayor, I think you're right about when you flip that thing to CW mode, it goes to Class C. Typically, Class C is used in stuff like what I work with for greater efficiency, and a transmitter that just sits on one frequency that would be sharply tuned, and the sharp tuning eliminates or minimizes, shall we say, the harmonic distortion. All right, M4LQ in the group, W4AUV.
W4AUV and 4LQ, and I'm on some kind of class here. You know, the manual of this thing doesn't mention anything about class. It's a classless thing, and it just got the switch. I don't know. I mean, I know it's a linear, and you need a linear, and if for some reason I was modulating here and I went into below cutoff, I would definitely not sound good. And if I flip it to CW, apparently I don't go below cutoff. Let me see here. I'll flip it to CW, and my power output drops. There you go, about 40 watts. It dropped about 40 watts. Flipped it back to CW. Okay, well, anyway, beats me. Now, if it were a transmitter and the final amplifier was operating Class C, and I was on AM, and I am transmitting, and I'm putting out a carrier, I don't see what the relativeness is for the class of the amplifier, because it's conducting, and when I modulate it, the power output goes up in the positive direction, and it's also got a peak going in the negative direction, down almost to cutoff, but not quite, and I guess it never really gets there. So if it was Class C, it looks like it would be cut off. Now, if I let off the mic, take the drive away, it goes into full cut off. All right, that'd be Class C. I don't know. It's just running together for me right now. And yeah, I looked at that schematic for a DX100. That light bulb's in parallel. I could see on first glance why you would think that it was in series with the plate primary, but it's not. It's gone across it, so you got something else going on there. Let's see if I had anything else, Gary. I don't know. There was something about the squelch on my PMR7 that had me confused, and I think part of what it was had to do with whether or not it was in CW or AM mode. I can't remember what it was, but it was a little bit confusing. It threw me for a loop at first, but you'll figure it out, I'm sure. Let's see, we got 3 inches plus rain here over the past couple of days. It didn't all come down today, and the tree came down with it. I tell you, that's pretty serious. I thought, I'm glad I wasn't out there when that happened, because a 100-foot tree on your head may not feel too good. So that's about all I've got here, I guess. Go one more quickie round for the 73s for the night, and we'll call it quits. How's that? Anybody wants to stay is welcome to carry on. Go ahead, Brian, KN4R, N4LQ, and you're on frequency now.
Great, Steve. Okay, N4LQ in the group, KN4R. All right, very good. Well, I've enjoyed it. I hope you guys have a nice one. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out what tomorrow is. I've got to take my wife's car in, so I don't think I'll be on tomorrow morning. But I hope everybody has a wonderful time, and it's been great. The rain's really filling up the lake, so that's a good thing. So 73s, everybody, and let's see, Brandon, he's either across the room or out of there, so I'll pass it to Cliff. WB4NKL in the group, KN4R. See you later.
WK4R. Oh, shoot. KN4R. It's WB4NKL. 73s, yeah, your globe's doing a good job. That's your globe champ. Sounding good, Brian. And, yeah, I'd say you're not Class C on that amp when you go to, I couldn't tell any difference when you flip the switch on the audio. But if it was truly going to Class C, I believe we could hear the difference. I guess if you keyed it, look at the idle current, he's probably still got some idle current without RF going into it. Let's see, yeah, I can see, Mayor, where if you was trying to look at that schematic on the phone, I could see where you might misinterpret that. But if it was in series, you'd need about a 500-watt bulb instead of a 3-watt bulb, I would think, to be able to get some voltage into that transformer. I'll say 73s and enjoyed it. We never did get much rain here, maybe a half inch altogether. So you guys got a lot more rain on over the mountain. Get you maybe in the morning or tomorrow night. Go ahead. I think Gary signed. Go ahead, Mayor. WF2U, WB4NKL.
Yeah, Roger. WB4NKL. This is WF2U. Yeah. I just like this afternoon, I came in a little bit because I wanted to try out the DX100, see if how it would work on 160, but it did not come up. So right here, I connected to my server, which is in the house, through Wi-Fi, and because I keep all my manuals digitally on my server, and I was looking just at that area, and you know, it was really too small to make it out too well, and so I'm going to tomorrow morning I'm going to print out the schematic and probably pull it out and check it out. And Steve, regarding the classes, I think I know my amplifier classes fairly well since about 10 years. I worked designing amplifiers from Class A to Class AB, 1A, B2, and Class C. That was when I was a project engineer on various amplifiers. Not necessarily. Well, once I did the communication stuff when I worked for Communication Associates. I did the one kilowatt solid state amplifier to replace the old double 813 that they had with their transceiver. But after that, I worked for another company that we were doing distributed high power wideband amplifiers anywhere for some applications we needed to do it Class A, and some other applications we used like AB1 or AB2. So again, when you switch it to CW, it's biased differently, because this way on CW the resting current is lower than in Class AB, whatever this amplifier happens to be biased at, whether it's AB1 or AB2. I can determine it by looking at the tube specifications, but right now I don't have it in front of me. But anyway, on CW it's closer to C, even if it's not completely C. And if you, well, the distortion is very, very audible, and it will distort. Now, modulating a Class C amplifier is a completely different animal, because you're not driving the modulation, the modulated signal. You're not putting it into the signal grid, and then if it's not one of the linear modes or classes rather, you're going to be, if you look at the modulation versus, or the input amplitude versus the tube curve, you're going to find that with Class C, you're going to cut off a lot of it, and you're going to distort. So when you bias it up, you bring the operating point of the tube to the point where if you put a signal in it, then the amplitude changes would be still on the linear in the linear part of the curve, and that's how it works. So when you're modulating Class C, all you do is from a Class C, you're providing a carrier, which is a steady state RF, and what you're just doing, you're modulating the plate and probably the screen as well, and all you're doing is just at the same, at half of the power level, you're just regulating the current that is going through the amplifier. It has nothing to do with the curve actually, because it's in the same operating point basically, and it doesn't matter. It's not going to cut off or anything unless you're over-modulating it, which is a different animal. So don't do AM on the CW setting, because you're going to distort, and if you're getting the last ounce out of it, of power out of it, as if you would be on CW, and then you're feeding it with modulation, you're going to be over-dissipating the tube because it has because it's at that point anyway. So I mean, if you're feeding it with AM, not with CW. But enough of the lecture. So that's the way it is. So have a good night, everybody. Take care, and we'll be probably here tomorrow night. And we'll see if I can put a real AM radio online. I'm a little bit reluctant to put the AF-67 because it's a pipsqueak on this band. I mean, it's not going to be too good from here. So good night and take care. Steve, thanks for running the show tonight. N4LQ, oh, Dale, W4AUV.
Let me see if this thing's working.
Go ahead and,
yeah, it's working good.
If I got it, just a second. Fire it up. Globe King has been into 1,000 pieces today, so I'm sure it's got the signature series noise in it, but how does it sound, Steve? 5 hours later, over.
Hey, it sounds real good, and nice high mids are really crisp and clean.
Well, good. I won't hold it any longer, but I'm not going to bother putting, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 24 screws back in tonight. I'm going to retune it for 3885 and then call it quits. So, dinner bells ringing, enjoyed it immensely, and good explanation there, Mayor. Who's next? Gary, maybe, if he's still around. Steve, I'm going to turn it back to you just in case, but about 200 and, let's see, hold on. Give me just a second. Yeah, about 220 watts out of the Globe King here, modulating 100, right at 100% easily. 73, Steve, back to you, W4GUZ clear.
I got more power out of my Elmac. 237. Oh, well, he can't win them all. Dale, I got to go. Walmart is supposed to be here in about 3 minutes, and they're about 2 hours late. Nothing has gone right today. The mailman never showed up. The garbage man didn't pick up the garbage, and Walmart is late, and a tree fell over. W4AUV and 4LQ.
Sound good, though. All right, everybody. Have a good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from Raleigh, North Carolina. This is W4AUV.
See y'all later. 73 and 4LQ.